My name is Ng Xiaoman from the school SMJK Jitsin. First of all, I want to thank my teacher Miss Eng Sopang for helping me throughout this entire program. None of this could have ever resulted in us standing here today if it weren't for you continuous help and useful advice. I did also like to thank my command in arms for their support, which was my only motivation to continue when I feel burnt out. This program has been a valuable experience for me. As the president of the Club Pencinta Alam, I've always had a deep love for our planet, and it pains me to know that the action of us humans are slowing killing our Earth. However, our trip to SMKCPT proves that there are still many people who love the Earth as I do. In Mission 2, the program had given me a lot of knowledge that I have never knew. For example, what happens inside a recycling center, the different types of plastics and harm it brings, and so on. This makes me realize that simply having a love for our planet is not enough. We need concrete action in order for progress to actual zone. Next is Mission 3. I learned a lot in that one-day trip, and my favorite part is when we make upcycle bags from plastic waste. I've loved handicraft since a young age, so this was an incredibly fun and relaxing activity to me. It wasn't easy to make an upcycle product as simple as it seems, but I think it teaches us to be patient with whatever we do, whatever if it's making handicrafts from plastic waste, or when trying to change our planet's environment for the better. We also went to EHS waste management and Tzu where we got to learn many interesting facts from a fun presentation and feel the unique texture of a book made out of plastics. This makes me very glad to understand that even though our Earth is in a terrible state as for right now, we are all starting to realize the problem, and we are slowing but surely making progress to revert our Earth back to its original condition. Beautiful, clean, and with zero waste. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Lee Song Yu. I'm here to talk about what I've learned in this entire journey of 3 months. It was truly a memorable experience for me, and it has been a huge harvest. I couldn't help but wish to share all the things that I've learned with the rest of the world. Firstly, the one that left the deepest impression on me is the time when we tried to make upcycled products. It is a very fun activity and needs a certain amount of brain power to pull off, and thus it's extremely time consuming and takes out a lot of energy, but the feeling you get when it's finished just feels really great. Not just that, I also sang in awe as I saw the beautiful dress made of plastic bags at Juchi Seberang Jaya Environmental Protection Education Center. It might not be meant to be worn, but it sure is a wonderful comparison of fashion and waste reuse. Also, did you know only 9% of all plastics waste produced is recycled? Not just that, but did you know that food waste is the most produced waste of Malaysia? By the way, speaking of Malaysia, it shocks me to acknowledge that Malaysia is the world's top plastic dump site. What didn't come as shocking, however, was that Nestle, Pepsi, and Coca-Cola was the companies that produce the most plastic waste, given that they are large companies that have branches all over the world. These are all facts that were taught to us by the interesting presenter at ESH Resource Management, Sendirian Berhad, and they were a big help to us. I also learned about the history of plastic. Apparently, the first artificial plastics, celluloid, was invented by a guy named John Wesley Hyatt. It looks very different from the variety of plastics we use today. Plastics nowadays are vastly different, and different types of plastics can be made into different types of products, such as plastic bottles, chairs, buckets, and many more. They might be bad for the environment, but it's no doubt that these plastics has already been implemented in our lives far too deep. However, we can still do our part and try to revert our planet back to how it once was. That's all from me. Thank you.
A good day to everyone. I'm student Chao Xiong from SMJK Jitsin. It's been a pleasure and a great honor to be a representative of our school to take part in this campaign. I wouldn't consider myself to be particularly aware of the environmental issues that we have been facing for the past few decades or so. But I have always been interested in trying out and understanding new aspects of our existence that I have never came across. And so, when I was given this chance to represent our school and try a brand new, untouched view of life, I couldn't say no. This turned out to be one of my best decisions I ever made. The stuff I learned and the knowledge I gained were priceless. Before this, I only knew that we produced a lot of waste. But who thought that we, in reality, actually produce over 2 billion tons of waste a year? I couldn't help but feel ashamed, knowing deep down that I'm one of the many selfish contributors that give this number its value. But throughout this entire journey, guilt wasn't the only emotion I experienced. With guilt also came salvation. I learned what we should do to achieve a planet with zero waste. Some of the examples include making our own handicrafts using plastic waste instead of just throwing them out. We could also bring our own reusable food containers when eating out. I understand that most people find doing this kind of stuff unnecessary, even time-consuming. However, I find it extremely meaningful. To me, it's the small things that matter in the larger scale of things. And avoiding using polystyrene takeaway containers might just be the first step. Not just that, I also found out that there were 7 main categories of plastics, and the meaning behind the resin code numbers that I always see under disposable plastic bottles. I personally love discoveries like this, and it makes me feel like I'm one step closer to this main goal that all of us shares. To be entirely frank, before this, I had not even considered the possibility of a world with zero waste. It just didn't seem viable. However, within these 3 months, my entire view on the subject changed drastically. I witnessed the possibilities of mankind and the love people have for our planet. I saw children, despite at such a young age, already having a heart worthy of the title Zero Waste Ambassador. Me, on the other hand, was nowhere close to the term shining. I just went from being indifferent to the environmental issues that we are facing, to feeling guilt, to seeking salvation, and lastly, acceptance. I indeed have learned a lot, and I don't plan on stopping, but I understand that I still have a long way to go in being the ideal Zero Waste Ambassador that I aim to be. And I don't plan on letting that enthusiasm die down just yet. That's all from me. Thank you for listening.